Growing up in the 1930s, Warren Buffett was always entrepreneurial ever since a young age, earning money from his paper routes and also by setting up pinball machines all around town. Later ending up selling that business for a decent chunk of money for the period of time and of his age. He was an avid reader as well, taking the bus to go to the YMCA and then to the library and then back home. He used to go to his father's office on every weekend, and he read every single book in there. And after he read them all, he would go to the public library and spend countless hours reading there, reading every single investment book in the shelves. There was no TikTok, no Instagram, no YouTube, just him and his newfound passion for making money. One time, he recalls a memory where he was so immersed in his book that the library closed down at night and locked him inside. Stuck for a few hours, a genie had visited him in the library and granted him one wish. No, he called his father's friend, who was the dean of the school, and he called the janitor to let him out. But if Buffett did have one wish, what do you think he would have asked for? To grow until the age of 90? To be worth over 11 figures? Or perhaps to be the purest human being to have ever existed, along with an admirable reputation? Maybe the genie had granted him all three, because Buffett is currently living as the richest investment guru to exist, having a net worth of $117.1 billion as of today's recording, and living as the 5th richest billionaire according to Forbes billionaire rankings. Just on a side note, I find it interesting that we all admire Buffett for his investing knowledge and track record, but at the end of it all, when we dive into his life, we find out he has certain traits that are worth way more than his money. He had kept his integrity and character in check all throughout an industry filled with evil, fraud, greed, and envy, spreading a positive message of being true, simple, and honest. On top of that, he had decided to donate a majority of his wealth for the reason being that he wants his money to serve a utility, instead of just going to waste or something that's not very useful. I mean, what a guy. Can you tell that I'm a fan? It's also interesting to me that he had grown up with devout Christian parents, but as he formulated his own thoughts about the world and things around him, he actually considers himself agnostic. But back to the video's main discussion, a large portion of his wealth was actually accumulated after his 50th birthday, and $70 billion came after he qualified for Social Security benefits in his mid-60s. With that being said, those who attach all of Warren Buffett's success to his investing skills, strategy, or calculations miss a very, very important point. The real key to his success is that he's been a phenomenal investor for about 75 years. Had he started investing in his 30s or retired like everyone else at the age of 60, no one would ever hear about his name. Buffett was a child prodigy at the right place in the right time, and he started investing into stocks even before the age of 10, introduced to stocks in the market through his father. By the time he was 30, he had accrued a net worth of $1 million, or adjusted to today's inflation, $9.3 million. But what if he was more normal, without being a math prodigy? Just a typical Joe Schmo kind of guy in Omaha, Nebraska, simply doing what normal people in Omaha, Nebraska do. I don't know, farming? I don't know what they do there, but sounds like the Midwest to me. So what if Buffett was in his teens and 20s, like every other kid, wanting to explore the world and city and find his true passion, and then by the age of 30 started investing, with his net worth being, say, $25,000. And let's say he still went on to make extraordinary annual returns at 22% every single year, but quit investing and retired to go play golf, play bridge, and spend time with his grandchildren. What would his net worth be today? Not 100 billion, not 50 billion, not even 1 billion. $11.9 million. That's 99.9% less than his actual net worth. Effectively, all of Warren Buffett's success can be attributed to the financial foundation he laid in his younger years, and the longevity he maintained throughout his geriatric years. That's the power of compounding. Think of this another way. Buffett is the richest investor of all time, but he's not actually the greatest, at least when not measured by average annual returns. There's currently a math wizard who goes by the name of Jim Simons. Simons was born in 1938. 8 years after Warren Buffett. And Simon started off as a mathematician, receiving his bachelor's in mathematics from MIT and a PhD from Berkeley. After serving for the US government and teaching at a well-renowned university, Simons yearned to do something he's always wanted to do, to make a lot of money. Simons founded Renaissance Technologies and the Medallion Fund, a quantitative hedge fund using mathematical models and algos to make investment gains. He has compounded money at a crazy rate of 66% annually since 1988. No one even comes close to this record, dubbing him the greatest investor on Wall Street, and more specifically, the greatest hedge fund manager of all time. As I just mentioned before, Buffett has compounded annually at 22%, a third of that. But as I look at Simon's net worth today, it sits at $28.1 billion. He's 76% less rich than Buffett. So why the difference if Simons is such a better investor? Because Simons didn't start his investment journey until he was 50 years old. He's had less than half as many years to compound his money than Buffett. Had Simons earned his 66% annual returns for the 75-year span that Buffett had, he'd be worth more than a whopping 20 figures. Yup, you heard that right. That's 20 zeros. A trillionaire has 1,000 billions, or 12 zeros. I gotta ask, are you in high school or in your 20s? Perhaps you can start formulating your own algos to start your own quant fund, combining the power of mathematically calculated trades and the power of having several decades to your advantage. You'd be one hell of a subscriber after liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Oh, and you'd also be the richest man to ever exist. The takeaway is that the counterintuitiveness of compounding can take the majority of responsibility for all the disappointments that retail traders and investors go through. You can't blame people for devoting all of their efforts and time to try to earn the highest investment gains, just like the quant king Jim Simons. It intuitively seems like the best way to get rich, and you can get rich. We see crypto geeks or YOLO day traders obtaining 100%, 500%, and 1000% returns on their initial capital. But good investing isn't necessarily about earning the highest returns, because those tend to be one-off hits that can't be repeated. Just take a look at most of the people who lost the majority of their wealth, if not in the red, after the crypto bubble or the NFT bubble. It was something that they knew was temporary and unable to stay consistent with. And it depended on the greater fool theory. That is, to buy something in hopes for the next fool to buy it at a higher price from you. Eventually the party all ends and the prices come plummeting down. The name of the game is just about earning pretty good returns that you can stick with consistently and which can be repeated for the longest period of time, decades, a third of a century's time, like Buffett. That's when the compounding goes crazy. My friend, listen very closely. Right now, you must realize that this is a time like no other in the history of this world, and you as an individual need to evolve and get with the program. Long gone are the outdated ways of doing things. Out goes the indoctrinated education, spoon-fed for the masses, your future of being enslaved in backbreaking labor outside in the fields, warehouses, or corporate offices just to earn measly amounts of cash. The 21st century is undergoing a huge transformational revolution where people are slowly starting to realize the importance of making and investing their money online. I call it e-money, and more people along with different parts of the world will start looking for ways to make electronic money with online business models and different sources of income. Location will soon no longer matter, as everyone will be working remotely in conjunction with a new technological wave of AI that in itself is constantly upgrading and improving at a staggering rate day by day. With that being said, keep a close eye on the channel as I'll be devoting my time and resources in helping you make and grow money online. Be ahead of the game and join me in this new technological renaissance as I'll share with you timeless ideas on how to transition and mark your own legacy into this new period of modernity and history.